Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. Welcome to the weekend preview. And it's bloody carnage, isn't it? We've been hit pretty hard at the worst time of the season. This is when we don't really want to be using trades, when we want to have some emergency trades up the sleeve, which I guess is exactly why we have emergency trades. But sometimes we want to cut it fine and maybe get that premium a few weeks earlier to sacrifice the long term a little bit, or just cross our fingers that we have a little bit of luck later in the season. And we haven't just had a little bit of bad luck, we've had some shocking luck. Of course, Dangerfield caught the suspension, and this week Grundy suspended, out for 2, Zach Merrett out for 1, Gazza again is out with those troublesome hammies, Joel Selwood is out, of course Scotty Pendlebury was already out and will be out for the whole season now. And Tom Lynch as well from the Gold Coast Suns will be out for the whole season. And I may have even missed a couple of others, I'm not too sure, but they are the ones that certainly bounce off the top of my head. Alex Witherden is another one who has been, I think he's got a hamstring injury as well. So it's some serious trouble. Now, of course, we do always advise to have emergency trades up our sleeve, but I think we can give ourselves a bit of a let off in this case, because you cannot plan for this sort of carnage. It's absolutely brutal. I think 90% of the competition will have 0 trades or 1 trade after this week, because we've probably had a couple of weeks where you've just had to have traded. And most people would have entered this stage of the season with anywhere between 2 to 6 trades. So I think a lot of people will be burning a reasonable amount of them over this week and last week. So what do we do? That's the main questions. And I think certain players, you will just have to keep them on their bench. You're going to have players who are on your bench that, yes, they're worth 470k, but you've just got to trade others because you can't trade them all given the amount of money and the downgrades required. So I'll go through a few of these players. A lot of them are quite popular, and I'll voice my opinion. I think the ruck situation is quite straightforward. If you've got Grundy, he's priced at 508. Max Gawn is priced at 502 from memory. So that's pretty straightforward. That's what you should be doing there. Tom Lynch, if you've got him in the forward half, he's proven one of my probably poorer trades of the season. I was umming and ahhing over it at the time, and it has really hurt me. He's just been mediocre, and now he's been out for the whole season. But he's at 410. If you do have him, or you're looking for another forward who's on the cheaper side, if you have faith in Lance Franklin coming out and doing far better than he has the last fortnight, well, he's nicely priced. Josh Kennedy is also reasonably priced. And Jack Billings is also perhaps a bit of a unique option. Jack Steele is in there too, but I just can't trust his consistency. They're all sort of priced around the 435 to 450 mark from memory, so I'll be having a look at those guys on the cheaper side of things. The midfield is the real one. I mean, we've got Pendlebury in there. Some people may still have him. Most would have got rid of him. Joel Selwood's the big one, and Alex Witherden as well is another guy that most people would have, and some would certainly have been relying on him filling that gap left by a couple of our stars. So that is certainly disappointing. Now, if you've got Zach Merrett, I keep him. He actually is the answer to a lot of my problems. I was disappointed he was out suspended for that little punch to the midriff, but look, he's priced at 514, and as far as I'm concerned, he's quite clearly the cheapest premium, the guy that I would consider a genuine premium, and he is the cheapest. I know we've got Rory Sloane down there, and I'll talk about him in a moment, but look, if you can afford to hold off trading in that midfield position for 1 week, I'm fortunate enough to be able to put in Jakey Lloyd into my midfield and then Heath Shaw off the defensive bench. So I have coverage there, which is one thing that has worked out well with my team, is burning some trades but having an extra defender and dual position, or an extra premium on a couple of lines and dual positions that have been able to nicely work around the field and cover some of these potential zeros. But look, if you can afford to wait a week, then Zach Merrett is quite clearly the man you want to be getting. Pendlebury, price at 497. It's quite an easy jump. If you've got Joel Selwood and he's your problem, 473, you may not have that spare 50k. You might, but ideally we probably don't want to be downgrading too much. Look, if you've got a downgrade, then do it. You know, I think Dacos might play, Callum Brown might play. Who else have we got? DeLuca came back in. honestly, I haven't looked super closely at some of these cheaper rookie options because they're far more irrelevant these days. So, look, I think Zach Merrett, if you can afford to wait a week, is a very nice, cheap price. Now, Rory Sloane, I just don't have full faith in him to be able to deliver consistently, and he could cause you great joy or great grief throughout these final series. He seems to be 140 plus or 70 and below, so it's either you're sub 70 or massive. Now, it's frustrating because the reason that seems to be is if he's tagged, he can't handle it and just is out of the game. And if he's not tagged, he's the superstar we know him to be. Now, last week was, look, if you ask him Rory Sloane, what sort of conditions would you like? They're the ones he picks. He's brilliant in that sort of conditions. The game's a bit slower. It's on the deck much more. He tackles hard and wins his own ball. He loves it like that. So a big score was always likely. And look, a lot of people may not have the choice. I mean, Joel Selwood to Rory Sloane is a far easier option. And look, to have someone who at least has Rory Sloane's ability to go big at that price means you might cop the odd 80 or 70 and you might wear it. But the fact is, not many weeks left to give that bit of a variation in score. So you really want big ones. If you want to take that risk, it's a flip of a coin whether Rory gets tagged. I mean, it's simple as that. If he gets tagged, you're really going to find it difficult to get 3 figures. But if he doesn't, then he's going to go big. So if you're comfortable with that risk, by all means, go for it. A few of these players I discussed last week, you know, your Dane Beams, your Trent Cotchins, Dylan Shields, you know, those sort of types, I think are reasonable. Mitch Wallace, if you're looking for maybe a POD and a bit of dual position, might be a bit of a cherry on top, or you might need that for your side. He may be an option. But if you're looking beyond Sloane, you can't get Merrett in because he's missing the week. You want, say, the cheapest premium guy. I think we're looking at Lachie Neale and Josh Kelly. I think they're about, just off the top of my head, Dyson Heppel's probably another guy. Sorry, he was very good last week. He might be a guy who could finish the season well, but again, he's very capable of sort of your mid-range scores. Josh Kelly and Lachie Neale, I think if you can reach up around that 550, then I think, you know, look, that's probably where you're going to probably be looking. If you can, they are sort of the cheapest of your real premium players. Of course, if you've got cash to burn, then your options are quite easy. You can go a fair way into that premium status. And Gary Ablett, well, look, I'd be trading him without a doubt. I mean, I think those hamstrings sound like they're in a bit of trouble. Listening to Rodney Eade on the Footy Show tonight, it was his other one. It sounds like something that they're just not going to risk him with. He could play this weekend. By the sounds of it, if it was a final, he would play, but obviously it's just a home and away, so they're not going to risk him. It's a risk management thing. So I would be pretty confident to think that he'd probably just sit out for the rest of the year. I mean, there's no real reason he should push to play. So you just got to trade him, I think. I really do think you've got to do that because there's no guarantee that he comes back next week. So at least he has had a very good scoring season when he's been out there. He's been very frustrating with all these missed games later in the season, which some have questioned. It is interesting how the nature of them and just the fact that they've been a 1 week. But look, maybe they're causing a bit too much trouble and sometimes the risk doesn't outweigh playing. But I think we've got options at least. You know, he's scored well, so he is quite expensive, which gives us options when we trade down. So that one shouldn't be too difficult. But look, that's pretty much the main cause for concern. If you've dodged a few of those bullets, good on you, because I think a lot of people, at least over the course of the last 2 weeks, would have copped some serious heat from some of these injuries / MRP decisions. So it is going to be tough. There will be some zeros. I hope you can work through it. Look, Dangerfield is back. I mean, that's one positive, that's for sure. Now, let me know how you guys go throughout the week. I'll look to get to a few of your comments on the Friday. I'll look to knock a few of those off in the morning. So by all means, comment away on my press conference on Sunday. And yeah, hopefully we can just finish the season well, because it is some fairly last-minute curveballs, just when you think you've got your side worked out, finalised, and got a couple of trades up for the worst-case scenario. Well, worst-case scenario is hit, and we're probably just going to have to cop it. I mean, I'm going to have no trades after this week, and look, somewhat say I cut it somewhat fine, but I feel I've done what I had to do. I've got a reasonable side, but sometimes you just got to use the trades, and let's just hope that we don't have too much bad luck in these last few weeks, because, look, I mean, I'll be able to cover them, but just not with as quality a player, and depending on which line, there may be the odd zero, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how we go. But anyway, leave a comment if you need, and subscribe to the channel as always. Give the video a like, as I often say. But all the best for your week in SuperCoach. Any finals you're in, any SuperCoach draft action, all the best, and I'll catch you guys soon.